Why empaths love so deeply but get hurt so easily. Have you ever noticed that the kindest people often carry the deepest emotional pain hidden behind their smiles? Why do some people give endless love, patience, and understanding, yet end up feeling completely broken inside? The answer lies in the way empaths experience love, because their hearts connect with emotions on a much deeper level. Empaths do not just listen to words, because they naturally feel the emotions hiding behind every conversation. They notice small changes in someone's voice, expressions, and behavior that many people completely miss. A quiet pause, a forced smile, or distant eye contact can tell an empath that something is wrong. This emotional awareness makes them incredibly caring partners who want the people they love to feel safe and understood. They support, forgive, and comfort others because helping people feels like a natural part of who they are. When someone they love is struggling, they often feel a strong desire to take away that person's pain. But this beautiful gift can also become the reason they experience some of the deepest emotional wounds. Empaths often focus so deeply on another person's feelings that they forget about their own emotional needs. They become experts at understanding others while silently ignoring the sadness growing inside themselves. They absorb their partner's stress, fears, and emotions until they start carrying burdens that were never theirs to carry. Over time, this constant emotional giving can leave even the strongest empath feeling exhausted and empty. Instead of asking whether someone deserves their love, empaths often ask how they can love that person better. They believe more patience, more understanding, and more kindness can eventually solve every relationship problem. They continue giving chances because they see the pain behind someone's actions instead of only seeing the damage caused. But love cannot heal a relationship when only one person is willing to grow, change, and take responsibility. Some people appreciate an empath's loving heart and return that love with equal respect and care. Others slowly become comfortable, receiving endless emotional support while giving very little effort in return. The empath often stays because they remember how beautiful the relationship felt during the beginning. They hold on to memories, promises, and moments that made them believe everything could become better again. That hope can be powerful because empaths naturally believe people can change with enough love. Sometimes that belief creates healing, but sometimes it keeps them attached to relationships that continue hurting them. They begin falling in love with someone's potential instead of accepting the reality happening every day. They excuse repeated disappointments because they understand the struggles and emotional wounds behind someone's behavior. They think one more conversation, one more chance, or one more act of kindness might finally change everything. But compassion should never mean accepting emotional neglect, disrespect, or constant heartbreak. Eventually, many empaths reach a moment where they can no longer ignore their own pain. They begin asking themselves why they are always the one trying to save the relationship. They start realizing that love should never require losing themselves just to keep someone else happy. A healthy relationship should not feel like one person is constantly giving while the other person only receives. Both people should contribute, communicate, and create emotional safety for each other. Empaths learn that boundaries do not destroy love, because healthy boundaries actually protect love. They discover that supporting someone is an act of kindness, but sacrificing themselves completely is not. No amount of love can change a person who refuses to take responsibility for their own growth. Real change happens when both people choose to become better together. The strongest empaths are not the ones who give endlessly without limits. They are the ones who learn to love deeply while still protecting their own heart. They stop chasing people who make them question their worth and start choosing relationships built on trust. They learn to recognize consistent actions instead of believing only beautiful promises. They understand that true love should bring peace instead of constant confusion. It should create security instead of making someone constantly wonder where they stand. If you are an empath, never believe your sensitivity is a weakness. Your ability to understand, care, and love deeply is one of the most beautiful gifts you possess. The world needs people who can bring compassion into a world that often feels disconnected. But remember that your heart deserves the same kindness and protection you freely give to everyone else. You deserve someone who values your love, respects your boundaries, and protects your emotions. You deserve a relationship where you feel appreciated instead of constantly drained. Keep loving deeply, because that is part of who you are. But never forget to love yourself with the same patience and devotion you give to others. Because when an empath learns to balance compassion with self-respect, everything begins to change. Love becomes peaceful instead of painful, balanced instead of one-sided, and joyful instead of emotionally exhausting. And that is when an empath finally discovers the healthiest and most meaningful love they were always meant to experience.